Alright. So, you might notice a bit of a change. This was brought on by work, unfortunately. I am not fond of my face as it currently stands, but well. Also, I apologize if I'm leaning to the left a little bit. My tripod broke right before I started to record, so that was cool. Um, So without further ado, let's get this video started. Hey there guys, gals, and my non-binary pals. How's it going? Right here bringing you a new video. This week we're going to talk about toxic masculinity in the trans guy community. Toxic masculinity is the idea that masculine-leaning individuals cannot partake in generally feminine pastimes, activities, or personality traits and still be taken seriously as a man. Examples of toxic masculinity are the idea that true men cannot show emotion, true men always want sex and therefore cannot be raped, real men are too strong and powerful to be victims of domestic violence, real men have no interest in child rearing or child development, and any men who do have interest in these things are weirdos or pedophiles who merely want to assault the children. And obviously, real men like sports and beer and like talking about how much they like fucking women. All in all, there's a lot of toxic masculinity in this day and age. So, color me surprised when a community I thought that would be exempt from toxic masculinity ended up being incredibly rampant in it. I guess I can't be surprised, though, that there is an underlying layer of toxic masculinity, misogyny, and sometimes even downright transphobia in the trans guy community. Trans guys aren't entirely different from cis guys, after all. This is something that I have noticed small scale myself. I had witnessed trans guys shitting on their more femme-acting brethren, saying things such as, what is the point of identifying as a guy if you're still wearing makeup or dresses or whatever else? And I'm ashamed to say that this is a thought process I had myself once upon a time. And then I realized it's none of my business to please how others identify. It's not my place to tell the guy who feels comfortable wearing makeup whether he's a guy or not. He decided he's a guy. If he feels more comfortable with he, him pronouns than she, her pronouns, but he still puts on makeup, then he's still a guy. If they go by they, them pronouns, and they still wear makeup, but they consider themselves a guy, then I will defend their right to be a guy till my last breath. At first I thought, hey, maybe this little bit of toxic masculinity I've seen in this group a couple times is just a small scale thing. So I took a couple courses of action. I Googled the problem, as one usually does, and I reached out to the FTM community at large. I'm in a couple groups on Facebook, and there's a subreddit. Subreddit is a forum on a website called Reddit. And I got a really strange dichotomy of answers. I got a bunch of guys agreeing with me that yes, toxic masculinity is a hell of a thing, as well as misogyny and transphobia. And it was honest, the responses and knowing how large scale the problem was, it was even worse than I had originally thought. But I also got these guys telling me that I was making the issue up, and they also accused me of attacking the trans guy community, and I was accused of attacking masculinity in general. Both of these things are kind of strange because, for one, I'm obviously a trans guy. You can't argue that I'm a guy. But I also don't consider myself to be the most feminine person. Truthfully, I consider myself more smack dab in the middle of the masculine-feminine spectrum. Insert picture here. But I definitely lean more masculine because I tend to have more typically masculine personality traits than feminine ones. An example of misogyny that I've heard stated over and over in the trans guy community is that sometimes these guys try so hard to separate themselves from their feminine roots that they will degrade women to merely sexual objects and nothing more. They want so desperately to be seen as real men that things they may have once experienced on the other side of the fence, they are now inflicting on others. They're ignoring boundaries and violating the personal space of women that they're trying to conquer, or they're talking about women in really sexually explicit ways, or they're catcalling or whatever. And it's really downright shitty. And I've seen with my own eyes transphobia in the trans guy community. And it's these guys that have been on T for a long time. They've grown out impressive facial hair that would make cis dudes weep, and have been working out for a long time and getting super muscular. And they harass these more femme guys. Like I had said previously, I had seen them questioning the behavior and the validity before, but it's something else entirely to actually harass these guys. I've seen them harass non-binary peeps, and it's really just low down and awful. And even more transphobia in this sub-community of trans guys who are above everybody else. They've harassed trans women. For whatever reason, these guys take it upon themselves to misgender, dox, which is to basically scrounge up their personal information and send it out there for other people to harass them with. And they harass these women. Maybe they feel threatened at the idea of a assigned male at birth person transitioning to the side of the fence that they left. I don't know. I can't really begin to get into the mindset of harassing other people in the trans community. You know these people are going through the same thing you are. Why would you bully them? And on a lesser scale, toxic masculinity is feeling the need to compensate a bit in your actions to be taken seriously as a man. But ultimately, if you're not harming others with this, I consider that a lot less problematic and shitty than bullying people in the trans community. And really, I can't say that I haven't tried to compensate, especially when I first realized that I was a dude. Because ultimately, passing and socially being seen as a man is really, really important to me. It was it was both reassuring to realize that I wasn't imagining this toxicity in the community, but it was also a little disheartening to find out that it was way worse than I had originally anticipated. And I don't even know how to begin tackling the problem. Is it something we need to tackle with cis guys first before we can even begin tackling it in the trans community? Tell me what you think in the comments below. That's it for this week. I'll see you in the next video, though. Have a good week. Bye, guys.